Buff Nation, what is going on? What a thriller. Oh, man. Oh, man. Like I said in the chat, man, I feel like I needed a cigarette after that game, Carter. But nonetheless, a thrilling victory by our Buffs going into Lubbock. You never apologize for a win on the road, especially in an environment like Lubbock, Texas, with Texas Tech. And, we'll get to the fourth quarter, but there's still a lot to really talk about, to be happy about. And at the end of the day, we're in control of our destiny moving forward. Y'all be sure to smash that like, subscribe. Y'all go ahead and get in here in the comments. This is going to be fun. But Carter, thanks for joining the show again, man. What is your initial reaction to the Buffs escaping a surge from the Red Raiders there in the fourth quarter to leave with a 42-31? Was it 31 victory? I'm trying to, or 24.
27,
27. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. But you nailed it. Controlling our own destiny down the stretch. This was probably the game that everybody was circling. I know Kansas has had some big wins over the last couple of weeks, but this was really the big one of these last 4 games, and we got some help from Iowa State today. So it was nice to be able to escape with a win after that slow start. CU's been prone to slow starts, especially on the offense. So to get it back rolling again and get a dub was huge.
Yeah. It was great to bounce back after that first quarter. I mean, offense is having trouble getting things going. And you fall into a hole 13-0. I'm not going to lie, Carter, where I was starting to feel a little nervous there going into the second quarter, being like, okay, like what type of team are we going to get? Because we're down 13-0. Things kind of got out of hand. For instance, when we got in a deficit against Nebraska on the road, a very rowdy environment. And I mean, what did we see from this team, though, this time? Just bouncing back the whole Tech to 0 points in the second quarter. And we get 10 points. And you can kind of feel the momentum swing in our favor, in our direction. What did you think of the Buffs' play in the first half going into halftime?
Yeah, I think it was huge to kind of. I mean, they almost let Texas Tech get back into it with that long return, but I thought they managed that decently to be able to roll themselves into the second half and get the touchdown. You see it all the time with the Kansas City Chiefs. They're really good at setting themselves up to take big advantages like that. So it definitely got themselves back into it into a comfortable situation. And I just got to give a shout out to the defense for holding them in the second quarter. They only let them get those 2 field goals on those 2 drives in the first quarter, and then after the touchdown, of course, but then nothing in the second quarter. So I just got to give big props to the defense.
Yeah. The defense, they kept us in it at the beginning of the game, and they allowed time for the offense to kind of find their footing. And this game is really interesting, Carter, because this almost reminded me of like a type of game that we played last year with how the team played. I mean, we had close, I think, to 15 accepted penalties. The offense just, it's like they lost their clutch gene at the end, not knowing how to finish. It was very odd, and you see them just let Tech back in the game, but the defense, man, they were just so good when the moments were the brightest. And yeah, I want to shout out to a couple of guys, man, on defense. Amari McNeill played great. Shane Cokes is out, and he came out there and balled out. I mean, I might have to give him the Mr. Penetration title now, because that dude was just penetrating every single snap, it seemed like, there in the backfield.
Yeah, he definitely had a great game. And you look at the stats, I mean, an unbelievable stat line from him. But there were those 2 plays earlier in the game where he was in the backfield immediately and Taj Brooks just juked him out. You had one of those, and his stat line is even more crazy, let alone both. But he was disrupting everything all game, especially on that 4th and goal where he just blew up the O-line and got the big tackle. But he played great today, and it's awesome to see him showing strides when we really need him to.
Yeah. And another guy that I thought played really well was BJ Green. Our edges, I mean, were awesome. BJ Green had a nice little strip sack. We had Keaton Wade get in there a little bit. Arden Walker with a strip sack as well. I mean, again, down Deion Hayes, but it just did not matter. Like, I think that's probably the group that I'm just feeling best about. Like, they performed the best in this game. I felt like our edges, they didn't really let many plays get outside, and they were just truly relentless. Where even in the clutch, I mean, I think Texas Tech, as you saw there in the fourth quarter in crunch time, they were still content handing the ball off to Taj Brooks, because our pressure was just that relentless throughout the game as the game went on, where I don't think they really had confidence in their offensive line to hold up being down 2 scores.
Yeah, BJ Green played fantastic. You nailed it. It seems like every time we needed a sack, or they were in field goal range, but it was still a little questionable, the edges would come up big and get the sack, and obviously the forced fumble that Cam scared me a little bit. Just wish he dove on it that first attempt, but after he kicked it, jumped on it, and that really helped us seal the game. But defense really played outstanding today. I mean, they put up crazy numbers. The sack total has been a little questionable so far this year, especially from the edges, and they really proved that they can hang in today's game.
Yeah. And yeah, let's get to the offense a little bit too. I mean, I guess I could pull up the stats here so we can kind of go through it, be kind of fun. But offense bad in the first quarter, good in the second quarter, good in the third quarter, bad again in the fourth quarter. Again, we can kind of get to the game management here later on, but at the end of the day, man, this was kind of one of those games where it's like we made just enough, like, better plays than bad, or we just made less bad plays than Tech. That's truly how I feel about this game. But I think where we really excelled, of course, was getting the balls to our playmakers quick and getting that yak. And you saw that. I mean, Travis Hunter, 9 for 99 in a tutty. Wester, 6 for 82, touchdown. Will Shepherd, 8 for 79 in a one-handed touchdown grab. I don't even know if they were going to call pass interference. Now, the refs, they're another topic of conversation, man. But the wide receivers, they were fantastic today, even with Jimmy Horn kind of getting knocked out on a kickoff return there in the first half. You saw everybody step up and still put up just enough production. I mean, we still had some drops, different things like that, from Travis, kind of uncharacteristic, but did enough to win. Well, and again, when you go into a rowdy environment like the one in Lubbock, I mean, you guys saw it on television today. It was insane. Their coach, Joey McGuire, had to get on the microphone in the fourth quarter and start yelling at the students, man. It was rowdy, and we did just enough to get that victory, man. And credit to the wide receivers for those touchdown plays.
Yeah, you nailed it with the yak comment. LeJonte's touchdown comes on a huge yak play. Travis's touchdown comes on a huge yak play. Will's touchdown didn't come on yak plays, but he had a couple screens where he really turned those into 15-yard gains. And I thought Will was probably one of the best yak receivers we had out there. So it was a great showing from the receivers. Like you said, Travis, a couple questionable drops, but you have 3 passing touchdowns. You should have a good game from your receivers.
Yep, and a perfectly executed there. I can't remember if this was the first touchdown or maybe it came in the third quarter when it was that zone read with Isaiah Gustive. And again, Shedeur doesn't take that call very often and doesn't take the ball, but he made the right read in that situation. And I thought that he was really good with his legs today. You see right there, 9 for 16 because of some of the sack yardage that he ended up taking. But I thought that he was great on his legs when choosing to scramble forward, when choosing to kind of tuck his head and run. Any other thoughts here on the offense, Carter?
Yeah, just struggled to run the ball again, but that kind of comes with this team. It is nice to see Shedeur really picking it up with his legs, using those a bit more, because that just adds another aspect to his game. But other than that, really just solid game. Did enough. I mean, we put up 41 points, but I think they could have easily put up more than that. We got to fix these slow starts, but other than that, feel good.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I do want to cover the team stats here really quick. One thing that Tech did very, very well, and where, I mean, this was uncharacteristically, guys, like in my opinion, just it was just a bad game from the offense, which the scoreboard won't reflect that. But if you watch this game, you just see how there was so many things going in our direction, and we kept letting the Red Raiders stick around. Man, I was getting nervous because magical things happen with Tech sometimes with these games at home. And again, we did just enough to survive this thriller, but 2 of 13 on third down. We were terrible. It didn't really seem like there was a lot of downfield throws, downfield shots taken. And I guess I'll need to see the film when that's released on just kind of why there just weren't a lot of downfield shots. But it seemed like Texas Tech, although we were able to find our rhythm in the second and third quarters, they defensively, I think they did a lot of things that frustrated this offense. Like, it didn't seem like a lot came easy to us today.
Yeah, to your point about the third downs, it seemed like a lot of our third downs were like broken plays. Like you would see Shedeur instantly with a guy in his face trying to stiff arm him, and then he would just throw the ball. So, like you said, we got to go watch that back to know really what happened. Obviously, we talk about it all the time on here. I wish they would be more aggressive, especially when they're leading. We talked about that their last game where they got a little too comfortable. So I would love to just see some shot plays on those 3rd and 1s, because why not, right? But yeah, they did a lot of things well. Especially, I mean, if you have a slow start like that, they're going to do things well.
Yeah, and again, credit to Shedeur Sanders and the rest of this team, I think, for weathering that storm in the first quarter and coming back and truly taking the lead. I mean, that was something that we wouldn't have seen last year, you know. So again, we haven't been the sharpest both of these weeks coming off of buys, so I'm kind of glad we got that out of the way. And I think one unit, though, that did look sharp, you know, it wasn't special teams. They were, you know, terrible outside of Mata yet again. We had the offense, of course. We've spent a lot of time talking about that, but the defense was just relentless. You know, they were kind of getting caught on some of those man beaters early on in that first quarter. And credit to Robert Livingston. I thought he made some fantastic adjustments on defense. And then our pass rush really started to take over. But I know Taj Brooks had a bunch of yards against us, but it really didn't feel like he had a 137-yard game against us. No,
it didn't. It felt like they were containing him pretty well. But the man beaters were really scaring me early on. We saw the first game with North Dakota State. They exploited those perfectly. But all year, Livingston has done a phenomenal job adjusting to that. And he did it again today. I think they only allowed 14 second half points. So it's just a great job again from adjusting. But when you start seeing those man beaters happening over and over, you get a little nervous because they're kind of figuring out their stride. But Livingston, another great job this week adjusting.
Yes. Hey, shout out to Coach Barry, $2 super chat. Yeah, I got the bot out of there now. Thanks for the heads up. I need to get some more moderators in here. I'll need to do that. But I want to give credit to all the guys who forced sacks, turnovers, all that. Steven, we'll get to your super chat here again soon. But it was great seeing everybody get after it. In terms of the sacks, Amari McNeill, sack and a half, 3 TFLs. Arden Walker, 2 sacks, 2 TFLs. Keaton Wade, 1.5 sacks, 1.5 TFLs. Samuel Okunloa, half TFL. BJ Green, a sack and a half TFL. And then fumbles, we had Shedeur Sanders with a recovered fumble for a touchdown. We had Cameron Silman Craig with a fumble recovery. We had Nakai Hill Green with an interception. I believe, somewhere here. And I guess where are the forced fumbles? Guess they don't have them on here. But
I
I'm
know
trying to
one was
remember who
BJ
forced the fumbles.
Green. One
Yeah,
was BJ Green. Who was the other one?
maybe it was Keaton Wade.
It was right at the end of that. I know it was on, like, he hit him early right as he was throwing it, and the ball kind of just bounced to Shiloh, but I forget who hit him.
Maybe it was Arden Walker. Anyways, guys, just the front seven was amazing today. 6 sacks on the day, 10 tackles, 4 loss, 3 pass deflections, an interception. I thought we played really well. I mean, this is the top offense in the Big 12 statistically coming into this game, and we held them to 27 with even time of possession. So, hats off again to the defense. I mean, they played their butts off. They were fantastic today, and they really stood up to the challenge, even when they were kind of dealt, not a good kind of deck of cards or whatever there in the fourth quarter. Shall we get to it? Want to say thank you so much, Steven, for the $10 super chat. Again, guys, please go make sure not only you like the show, join the comments, subscribe, all that, but go subscribe in the description to Carter's channel. Let's Talk Buffs, putting out some great stuff on a weekly basis, and they are up and coming. Always joining me after every post game. But thank you so much, Steven. He says, "Can we please clean up these taunting penalties, man?" I think we had one on Colton Hood. Let's hear for your thoughts on just kind of that whole fourth quarter debacle.
Yeah,
Carter.
that one was in the end zone was DJ. He just kind of sat there and stared down the guy. And man, it's so tough because this team really is kind of built on that swagger mentality, right? You see it all the time with Coach Prime. We saw it on that Jimmy Horn almost touchdown, where he threw up the peace sign, and obviously that was called back. So it's really a tough balance, but you just got to keep teaching it. You can't go back on it. I'm sure Prime talks to DJ. We can't do that. Just have that same conversation that he had with Jimmy. But yeah, we got to clean it up because one of these times it is going to cost us a game. Honestly, I mean they are hurtful penalties. And we can't keep having these week in and week out, especially if we win out. Or even any game from here on, the next 3 and the Big 12 championship are all huge, huge games. We can't have taunting penalties be the reason we take a loss.
Yeah, like I want to say, like, I love the identity of this defense, man. They talk, they hit, they'll get a little extracurricular, right? But sometimes, man, these things can kind of help a team get back into it when we're trying to, shut the door on any hope. And some of them I don't necessarily agree with. I thought the officiating was absolutely horrible today. We benefited from them missing that face mask call on Keaton Wade. I think it was on that fumble that Morton had, which was lucky. But I just didn't feel like the refs were consistent with how they were calling the game throughout the entire 60 minutes. And it's like that sort of call that like Samuel Okunlola had where he had a roughing the passer. It was just a little shove or something like that. That wasn't being called at other points of the game. Then we benefit from like kind of one of those roughing the passer calls from Shedeur, I think it was in the first half. Like I just didn't really feel like the refs were very consistent with enforcing those things, nor would they ever call the hold on Texas Tech the entire game. But usually you do get a little bit more of a beneficial whistle at home. But man, Big 12 refs, we did enough to not put the future or the outcome of the game in their hands, thankfully, but it was getting close.
Yeah, it seemed like all game long they were letting DBs get real physical with the wide receivers. I think that might have had a little bit to do with our slow start. But I was waiting for the flag to come in just on Texas Tech for all these tortillas. Like they were getting out of control, and then they were throwing stuff at our bench. Like I was waiting for a delay a game or whatever foul they give for that.
Yeah.
But it was really a poorly mismanaged game. Like there was a lot of after the play stuff from both sides. It was a very physical game. It was chippy. Yeah, it was just poorly officiated and managed from the refs.
Yeah, like and Coach Barry, Chubbs, we'll get to your super chats here in just a moment. Thank you so much, for the coffee you're sending my way. But like the environment, like it was awesome. Like hearing how loud Texas Tech was getting, we're going into a rowdy environment. We're gonna shut them up, right? We're gonna take over their house. And the tortillas flying on the field and everything like that. Hilarious. But then it just started as the game got on. It's like, nah, man, like the refs truly have to get control of this because it was just starting to get out of hand. And they failed to do that, man. You call one unsportsmanlike penalty or give a sideline warning, and those things start to subside. But, yeah, I just, it could have been a lot worse with having one of those players slip on like one of those tortillas or something like that. Like, I don't think that was the case for Jimmy. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, who knows? And, that sort of stuff, well, it's fun. Once it goes too far, you're starting to put player safety in danger. And I just didn't appreciate that.
Yeah, it's one thing if you do it right at the start of the game, but then that's enough. Keep them in the student section, throw them around the student section because it's ultimately, I mean, it is for fun, but there's also guys putting their bodies on the line, so we just got to be careful there.
Yeah, that's when I was getting a little nervous, but I'll get to a couple of these super chats now. Yeah, Coach Barry for the $2 saying the refs were trying to play hangman with this tape. Yeah, it was. I'm sure Texas Tech has. Kind of feel similar in some ways. Like we did benefit from some of those calls just like they did, but overall this was just it just wasn't consistent throughout the game. Had issue with that. Coach Barry saying I'm on cloud nine though, Dave. That first quarter almost made me jump off a roof. Carter, what was going through your mind there at the beginning of the game and how we got back into it?
Yeah, it was pretty worrisome. But we've been in this journey before with slow CU starts. I mean, we're definitely not out of the game at all with two back there. So I knew there was always a chance, but it's like, man, in that environment, they were rowdy. You saw their whole sideline jumping and jumping and jumping. We needed to kill their momentum, and they did a good job on that and really got themselves back in the game.
Yes, no doubt about it. We got Chubbs in here, my man with the $4.99. Thank you. He's saying Dave with the cream. That's right, Will Shepard. The cream is coming. We saw the cream come tonight with Will Shepard. He was fantastic on those little bubble screens. Again, the brilliant one-handed catch. I mean, the cream came, baby. That's always nice when the cream rises to the top with this wide receiver core. We saw it with Will Shepard. Chubb saying, let's go, Buffs. We got to finish stronger offensively. Special teams needs to be special. Back to work in 24 hours. Yes. Carter, let's talk about this, man. Buffs, we go into a rowdy environment. We get that win. We overcome all the BS. We overcome our own mistakes. We still made more good plays than bad. And we come out of Lubbock with a victory that we should never apologize for. And we also got a little bit of Buff luck along the way in some other Big 12 play. Why don't you break it down for us?
Yeah, so going into today's game, Iowa State and BYU are the two Big 12. The championship was tomorrow. Those are the two teams. Kansas hosted Iowa State today, and we obviously need one Iowa State loss to get in there, and that happened. They put up a ton of points on Iowa State. It got a little close towards the end, but they walked away with a dub, and with a CU win, we are now in that number 2 spot, and if we win out, we will be playing in the Big 12 championship with a chance to get a college football playoff bid.
Insane. And with the season of destiny, right? You kind of need these sorts of things to go in your way, right? Like you kind of need, you need the Hail Mary stuff over Baylor. You kind of need to catch some breaks of what's going on in the other conference or with the other teams in the conference. And again, you survived some of these games that, while I felt like this was more of an inconsistent performance in terms of how we played last year, kind of reminded me of that in some ways. We were still better than how we played last year because we still made enough plays to win, barely. And it's showing that this team, it's just different. And we don't get this win last year. We don't. But we had just enough, man, to hold on from a surge and put ourselves now at 7-2. 7-2, the most wins we've had since 2016. We're on our way, and we very well could tie that mark. It truly feels like a season of destiny. Chubb's coming in here saying, Jimmy got hurt on a tortilla. Thanks again for the super chat, but well wishes to Jimmy. Hopefully it wasn't serious. I think I might have seen him on the sideline there in the second half, so hopefully he's okay. But I do not know, Coach Barry, what sort of injury he suffered. Carter, do you have any idea?
No, I think it was maybe taping up his ankle. I think that might have been something with his ankle, but no, we'll probably learn more after the press conference.
And how could we forget about this, Carter? It's probably just because there's so many things to talk about. But let's talk. I'm not really a channel that talks about Hall of Fame walk-ons, Carter. I'm just not going to talk a lot about walk-ons. But Cash Cleveland truly is a Hall of Fame walk-on. I'm going to own that. I didn't think he had it in him coming in as a true freshman. But, man, Hank Zielinskis, for some reason, can't snap the ball on time again. Accountability is held. You see Cash Cleveland go in there, hold down the fort. I thought he played great. What did you think from Cash, the minister, Cleveland, as Coach Barry's putting it?
Yeah, it was awesome. Definitely an easy guy to root for, right? You see him; he's like one of Shedeur's best friends. So coming in as a walk-on, and we needed him today. I mean, Hank, one of those fumbles is gonna kill us eventually. I don't know what his deal is. But I mean, I think it's Cash Cleveland season. I think that's your guy going forward. I think he played solid today. Obviously, no bad snaps. You couldn't really tell a difference at all. The commentators were loving the kid. I mean, they were, after every run play, there's Cash Cleveland pushing the pile. I mean, they were loving it. They showed him forever on that replay when he got that holding, and he was not liking it. So you can tell the moment is not too big for him at all. He's loving it. He always got a smile on his face. So I think it's Cash Cleveland season.
Yeah, it's Cash Cleveland's job to lose at this point, man. I think, again, you've never seen him have a bad snap, and he comes in after the first drive, and he just kills it, man. Give that man a scholarship. If he's going to be a starter on this team, just give him the scholarship. He has earned it. Just like Charlie Offerdahl, he's on the field playing special teams mainly right now, but he earned that. Cash Cleveland should not be paying his own way moving forward now. That's how I feel about it. He should be our starting center. I thought he played great. And it was, little chippy. He's got some nasty to him. And, I saw him kind of cleaning up some piles there at the end. And again, it's so funny because he's not like this super big looking, imposing looking player. I've described him as still feeling he's got a baby face. He looks like he's still got some baby fat on him, but it's clear, man, he packs a powerful punch. And I think that he is becoming one of the unsung heroes and surprise players of this season. And I couldn't be happier for him, man. I was just, to come in that road environment, to play the way that he did as a walk-on true freshman.
We needed it with the Yakiri Walker stuff that went down. We needed a backup center there we could trust, and he's been the one.
No doubt. Let's go for a few more minutes if you can, Carter. We got a few more supers coming in here. So, hey, probably a subscriber to my channel when I was at 200. We're almost to 10,000 guys. So let's get it going. Legend 499. Thank you. He's saying, let's go. Our defense is doing their thing this year. Any other shout outs that you want to make on the defense, Carter, that we haven't talked about yet?
I feel like we don't give Nikhil Green enough credit. Like this guy, I think he's gonna be an NFL middle linebacker one. Like
Yes.
he's got the tools and he just makes plays every week, whether it's stuff in the run, obviously the interception this week. So let's just give a little bit more credit to Nikhil Green there.
Bentley and Hill Green law firm, baby. Bentley with 17 total tackles, Nikhil Green with 15, and of course an interception. I mean, they were one of the reasons that Taj Brooks was barely a factor in this game. He had a couple long runs. He had that touchdown run on 4th and 1 that I don't even know why we didn't have anybody over there containing, but it is what it is. Our linebacker play, Andre Hart, he's elite. He's the most elite, assistant coach we got. I gotta circle back on it. I was wrong. I love apologizing to Coach Hart, but I think both of those guys could have NFL futures, and I'm with you. Like Nikhil Green is showing that he truly is a 3-down linebacker in the NFL. He's got the ability to do it. Speaking of, maybe other guys on the NFL bubble, Chubb's coming in here. Dante, we'll get to you here in just a minute. Chubbs with the 199 says, I will not tolerate any Shiloh slander. Bounce back game today from the headache gang. What did you think of Shiloh's play today, Carter?
I'll give a little Shiloh Sander. I'm gonna preface this saying big Shiloh fan. Like I love watching him hit. I just wish he could hit and wrap up as well. Like he'll hit somebody, but then they'll just bounce off of each other. But a huge Shiloh fan. Obviously, he got that touchdown today. Right place, right time. But yeah, Shiloh bounce back in.
Man, Shiloh was awesome. Seeing him get that scoop and score, I thought was just so ironic and so funny from just with the crowd really getting after him and him kind of going back, him tossing that water bottle back to the student section. And, oh, by the way, Carter, did we plant the American flag, in the on the field after this game? I mean, we won this game for America. We weren't going to let any of these socialist T-shirt companies try and profit off our brand, right?
Dude, that stuff it's just insane. Only stuff with Colorado. Only things that will happen to Colorado. No other program will have that happen to them. Just another tale of the Deion program.
Oh man, when this is all said and done, we're gonna need multiple seasons of the 30 for 30 on it. But Dante, thank you for the $10. Says we have an offensive defensive line to be any top 10 team. They've gotten better throughout time, man. What has been your thoughts on our D line and O line in today's game?
Yeah, it seems like constant improvement, like every game. Obviously, there's still those flashes of just not good things. And then they're down a couple bodies on that defensive line too. So it is encouraging to see keep improving. Obviously, big fans of their staff there. Phil Loadhole, Lewis, and Coach Sapp, of course. So they got the right guys to be helping out those players. So just constant improvement for sure.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to Tafik Thomas, man. I believe he had a pass deflection, if I remember correctly. So again, Shane Koch's out, and I thought we might see Tyler Brown in this game, since he was in the blue jersey. But no, we ran a tight rotation, and those guys played well, which is getting to a couple of the other super chats here. And by the way, offensive line did a great job of protecting Shedeur. I don't know how many sacks he took on the day. 3. I wouldn't put all those on the offensive line. Maybe 1. Like, we were great in pass protection, man, today, I thought.
Yeah, and Shedeur obviously is something else running around in the backfield creating plays. So I don't think there'll ever be a game where every sack is on this offensive line. But yeah, I thought they had a good showing for sure.
Yeah. Gaining confidence as we go. And then Chubbs, again, thank you so much for the generosity towards the channel. Black Bully, a surge in the run D. Amari McNeill, man, we've talked a little bit about him, but anything left to say about these guys holding down the interior?
Man, they are a physical group, and that's what you want there. Sap is really, I think, pushed that into him. You watch Sap at practice; he's screaming and yelling, and I just love what this group has really become, mentality wise.
I love the identity this defense plays with, man. It is so fun to watch. They hit, they are relentless, they will not give up. The pass rush, again, some of those you can credit the secondary for like coverage sacks because it allowed somebody like Arden Walker or BJ Green, one of these guys, to get loose and then get after the quarterback, getting some more time. So I'll shout out Carr Stoutmeyer as well. Saw him in there playing a little bit of linebacker. Cool. Tip pass. Great. I've wondered if at some point maybe he might kind of be a player used in that way, and um, it sure seemed to pay off because Bentley's not tipping that thing up there on that final drive from Texas Tech, right? So, yeah, this defense, man, I love the attitude they play with, and I know they had a lot of penalties today, but 14 penalties and we get the victory. I'll take it.
I gotta give one more shout out before we get out of here.
Yeah.
Ben Finiseth on that special teams hit. Man, you love seeing that guy hit somebody. He loves hitting people. He was crazy after that, shaking his head, running. I know he was screaming. So shout out to Ben, man. He's a fun dude to watch in the well off videos.
Leading tackler on special teams. Leading tackler on special teams this year. Ben Finiseth. He's fantastic. I mean, man, this feels great, Carter. We're in control of our own destiny. Oh, I can't tell you how relieving that is. We cannot underestimate Utah. We cannot underestimate Kansas or Oklahoma State. We have 3 battles that we need to go in and take care of business of, and Kansas, they might be ready to give us their best shot here in a couple weeks. Thoughts on the remaining schedule and where we go from here?
Yeah, I mean, we're playing these teams regardless. It's just nice to know now that we can focus on Colorado only. Before this game, we needed some help. We got the help, so we just handle our business and we're good. But there's definitely some sneaky teams, some well coached teams. Kansas is definitely dangerous on the offensive front, and we've struggled with running quarterbacks. And Jalen Daniels can certainly move a little bit, so. Definitely need to lock in for these final 3. But man, if we can get these final 3, it is going to be an amazing time to be a Buff fan.
Oh, just every day is surreal, man. It truly is. Carter, thank you so much for joining me on this post game. Everybody, Dante, Chubbs, Legend, Coach Barry, Steven, thank you so much for all the super chats and everybody in the comments, liking the stream, subscribe. We're on our way to 10,000. Carter, subscribe to Carter's channel at Let's Talk Buffs in the description. What content do you have coming up for them to look forward to over on your channel?
Yeah, hopefully we'll have a couple podcasts this week breaking down this game, looking at Utah, and then go follow us on Twitter at Let's Talk Buffs. Get a bunch of all 22 film up. Hopefully more this week than usual. Last week we've been kind of slacking, but hopefully we'll get a bunch up there once we get it all. So yeah, follow us there, subscribe to Let's Talk Buffs, and hopefully catch a pod.
Yes, guys, go and do it. And Martel Prayer coming in with $15 with some kind words saying, "Hey Dave, I love your show as well as your passion and leadership and supporting the Colorado Buffs. You stood tall through all the hate and negativity. Now you're reaping the rewards." Well, thank you so much. Doing all this is just as much fun, for me as hopefully you guys have jumping on here, just getting my reaction, to everything every day with what's going on with this program. And for me, you guys are what make it a ton of fun. So thank you so much for tuning in, for supporting the channel. We're going to continue to grow here and along with Let's Talk Buffs. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. All the love. We got the buff luck we need. Let's go out and celebrate, cherish this victory, and then it's on to Utah for big noon. Big noon. About time they came to Boulder, right, Carter?
Definitely. Game day was awesome last year. So hopefully Big Noon is just as crazy.
Yes, no doubt about it. All right, guys, I will be back tomorrow as always. Hit that like and subscribe on the way out. As always, Sco Buffs.
Go Buffs.